What do tariffs in Orillia, a landfill deal in Ottawa, and Arctic sovereignty have in common? They all hit your wallet and shape Canada's future, and the senators have something to say about it tonight. It is Friday, January 30th, 2026. First, a quick Ottawa weather check. A high near minus 13 degrees Celsius and a low around minus 23. No snow expected. Bundle up. Let's start at City Hall. Ottawa's $95 million landfill purchase is moving ahead, and officials are warning of a short-term bump in costs before, they say, long-term taxpayer savings materialize. The city expects waste fees to rise, with the landfill repayment adding about $23 to the average property tax bill by 2030. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe argues the deal is necessary as existing landfill space dwindles. Essentially, pay more now to avoid a much bigger bill later. For households already squeezed by groceries, rent, and heating, that's a tough pitch. But it's also a reminder that waste and land use decisions we make today affect costs and climate impacts for decades. Zooming out to Ontario's business climate, in Orillia, local businesses sounded the alarm over tariffs at a roundtable hosted by the Orillia District Chamber of Commerce. Owners described real pressure on costs and competitiveness, and a tariff consultant called this a critical moment to get ahead of policy shifts. If you run a small manufacturing shop or import components, you're feeling volatility in real time. Margins shaved thin by duties, price uncertainty, and clients shopping cross-border alternatives. The timing is not accidental. Broader trade politics are heating up. Case in point, during a meeting in Ottawa, attended by Prime Minister Mark Carney and Canada's premiers, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened extra tariffs on Canadian-made aircraft. An aviation expert made one thing clear: the U.S. president has no authority to decertify Canadian aircraft. Tariffs are one thing, the certification question is regulatory and not in his hands. Still, the threat underscores why Ottawa is moving into a full Team Canada posture ahead of the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement renewal. Prime Minister Carney's message to the premiers this week: focus on the levers we control. Renew CUSMA from a position of strength, diversify trade, and clear the cobwebs out of our domestic market. That includes removing interprovincial trade barriers, especially around the free movement of skilled workers. With CUSMA talks looming, Ottawa plans to create a Team Canada trade and investment hub to back business delegations and trade missions, and to hold monthly federal-provincial meetings once negotiations begin. On sovereignty, Carney also said he expects Washington to respect Canadian sovereignty, following reports that U.S. officials met with Alberta separatists. The subtext: trade and unity are linked, and a divided Canada is a weaker negotiator. Those trade and sovereignty threads tie directly to defense. Ambassador has warned that NORAD operations would have to change if Canada doesn't follow through on buying 88 F-35 jets, potentially meaning more U.S. aircraft flying into Canadian airspace to cover gaps. At the same time, critics worry Canada's involvement in producing icebreakers for the U.S. could blur lines on Arctic sovereignty, especially as the U.S. national security strategy emphasizes dominance in the region. Agreements we've long relied on could be tested if capabilities and ambitions diverge. And the debate isn't just jets and shipyards. Canada is the only Arctic nation that does not arm its Coast Guard. The Navy's commander says there's no need to arm those vessels outside of war, arguing civilian ships can be equipped if conflict ever arises. Others see the government's effort to integrate the Coast Guard into defense planning as a bookkeeping move to inch closer to NATO spending targets. Parliament is also weighing whether to expand the Coast Guard's mandate for coastline surveillance and intelligence sharing with the military. Crucially, Inuit leaders and northern governments are asking to be fully included in any Arctic defense spending plans. Nunavut's premier has been blunt. Security is not just ships and sensors. It's also roads, housing, and reliable basic services for communities that have historically borne the brunt of military buildups without the benefits. As Global Affairs Minister Anita Anand put it, the Arctic is no longer a low-tension zone. It's a theater of strategic competition. Climate change is opening sea routes and reshaping the balance of power, and Canada's choices now will determine who sets the rules and who actually benefits over the next half-century. Back here in Ottawa, a lighter note that still says something about the city's identity. January 29th is officially Shane Hollander Day. Yes, the character from the international hit TV show Heated Rivalry, a romance centered on two hockey players. The city marked the day as media leaders gathered for a Canadian industry conference in Ottawa, with actor Hudson Williams, co-star Sophie Nélisse, and the show's creators in town. Prime Minister Carney is slated to deliver remarks at the conference, highlighting how Ottawa's cultural sector and creative tech converge. Another strand in the local economy that doesn't always make headlines, but employs a lot of people. Sports next. The Devils are in town to face the Senators at 7 p.m. Eastern. Ottawa's been solid at home at 13-10-4 and sits 25-21-7 overall. One warning sign. When the Sens take more penalties than the other team, they're 4-10-3. Discipline could be the difference tonight because New Jersey travels well enough. 15-14-0 on the road. And when they hit at least 3 goals, they're 22-8-1. The Devils edged Ottawa 4-3 in their lone meeting so far this season. Keep it 5-on-5, keep them under 3, and this is a winnable game. Around the league, Montreal crushed Colorado 7-3, with Nick Suzuki scoring twice and adding an assist. Goalie Jakub Dobes stopped 26 shots and remains unbeaten in his last 8 starts, while the Avalanche, wearing Quebec Nordique's throwback jerseys, have now dropped 6 of their last 8. A little nostalgia, a lot of goals. If you're heading out this weekend, Winterlude is a marquee pick in Ottawa. Bundle up and you're rewarded. The Ottawa Home and Remodeling Show is on, if you've got projects on the brain, and 613 Flea is back for treasure hunters. If you're considering a quick Toronto escape during the deep freeze, there's a cluster of indoor events running through February 1st. Think vinyl record paint parties, pet painting, a fashion contest, and a free drag brunch. But you won't be short on options right here at home. Before we go, a recommendation for your local listening queue. CBC's This is Ottawa with Robin Bresnahan drops new episodes every Monday. It's a smart city-first lens on stories like the squeeze on local businesses from high rents. Timely context when we're talking about everything from tariffs to landfill costs. That's the brief. A colder-than-cold day in the capital, higher near-term waste fees for long-term landfill security, tariffs and trade politics sharpening ahead of CUSMA talks, and a big conversation about how we defend the Arctic and who gets a say. Plus, it's game night. See you at the rink. I'm back tomorrow. Stay warm, Ottawa, and enjoy your Friday.